faculté des sciences de la vie, École polytechnique fédérale de Lausanne, et M. Amin Awad, président du conseil de fondation du DCAF, Centre de Genève pour la gouvernance du secteur de la sécurité. Il en est ainsi décidé. Le Conseil de sécurité va maintenant aborder l'examen du point 2 de l'ordre du jour. J'appelle l'attention des membres du Conseil sur la lettre du 1er octobre 2024 publiée sous la cote S 2024-708 par laquelle la représentante permanente de la Suisse auprès de l'Organisation des Nations Unies a transmis au secrétaire général une note de cadrage sur la question à l'examen. Je donne à présent la parole à Monsieur Robin Geiss.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du Conseil de sécurité, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, c'est un véritable honneur pour moi de m'exprimer dans l'enceinte de ce Conseil et je souhaiterais tout d'abord exprimer ma sincère reconnaissance envers la Suisse pour l'invitation formulée à l'égard de l'UNIDIR, l'Institut des Nations Unies pour la recherche sur le désarmement. Depuis son instauration en 1980, en tant qu'institution autonome de recherche au sein des Nations Unies, l'UNIDIR aide les États membres des Nations Unies à mieux comprendre les implications de la science et de la technologie dans le domaine de la paix et de la sécurité internationale. Il convient de se rappeler que toutes les technologies bien établies qui façonnent aujourd'hui la réalité de la paix et des conflits étaient autrefois considérées comme émergentes. Le récent développement dans le domaine tel que la robotique avancée, l'impression 3D, la biotechnologie, l'espace cybernétique ou extra-atmosphérique sont désormais pleinement reconnus comme une source de préoccupation dans les discussions sur la paix, les conflits et en matière de désarmement. In an interconnected digital world, new technologies and scientific advances are developed, marketed, and adopted with unprecedented and ever-increasing speed. It took half a century for the electric grid system developed in the 1880s to reach 100 million homes globally. In 2022, ChatGPT achieved the same result in just 2 months. This points to a drastic compression of the time available to policymakers to react and adapt to scientific and technological advances in today's world. At the same time, the increasing convergence of different technologies, combined with their inherent dual-use nature, can lead to far-reaching and unintended consequences. It is the compounding effects of different scientific fields, technologies, and social contexts, all coming together that have the greatest disruptive potential for how wars will be fought, peace achieved, and stability maintained. The relationship between humans and technology is also evolving as we move from assistance by technology via enhancement by technology and ultimately to replacement by technology. The growing use of advanced robotic systems in warfare provides a clear example, with robots employed for tasks considered too dangerous for human soldiers, such as bomb disposal or fire support. And notably, this is just one example based on technologies that are already available today. With the scientific and technological landscape evolving at such blistering pace, we often lack a clear sense of what is being developed, by whom, and with which resulting impacts, including for international peace and security. This issue is compounded by the siloed nature of today's international arms control architecture, which does little to support knowledge sharing and coherent analysis of new trends and their impacts. To enable timely and effective policy responses to future crises and conflicts, and to ensure proper protection of civilians, peacekeepers, and humanitarians, we need to increase our awareness and understanding of the growing threats and opportunities arising from scientific and technological developments. This is particularly clear from the twin examples of quantum technology and artificial general intelligence. Within the next 5 to 10 years, quantum technology will impact peace and security in many significant ways. First, it will disrupt information and communication security by making traditional encryption techniques ineffective and therefore obsolete. Second, quantum sensors will enable the detection of objects underground or underwater, revolutionizing warfare on the one hand and monitoring and verification efforts on the other. And third, quantum computing will unlock a new era for artificial intelligence by enabling computation of models that cannot currently be run on even the most powerful computers. Precisely on the topic of quantum, UNIDIR and the Geneva Science and Diplomacy Anticipator, GESTA, will soon be co-hosting the UNIDIR Innovations Dialogue, an important international platform for horizon scanning and future-oriented analysis. Over the next decade and beyond, significant advances are also expected in the field of artificial general intelligence, or AGI for short. Unlike current AI systems, which excel at specific tasks but are limited to narrow applications, AGI would be able to understand, learn, and apply knowledge dynamically across a wide range of contexts, allowing it to operate with a degree of flexibility more akin to human intelligence. This profound shift would have far-reaching consequences throughout society, but with two particularly concerning risks for peace and security. First, the loss of control risk. Once AGI reaches a level of intelligence beyond human capabilities, humans might lose the ability to govern or constrain its actions. Many experts see this as a concrete and plausible risk that is worthy of serious consideration, particularly given the existential nature of the threat. Second, the value alignment problem. That is the challenge of ensuring that an AGI's goals, motivations, and decision-making criteria remain at all times aligned with human values, ethics, and well-being. This powerful technology could be leveraged for good to tackle complex global challenges, but should it come to be used irresponsibly, it could pose significant and indeed existential risks to both human and international security. Excellencies, anticipation and early understanding of technologies on the horizon can enable decision makers, including the Security Council, to take informed action that both leverages potential benefits and also prevents or mitigates novel threats arising from lack of awareness, loss of control, or miscalculation. The Pact for the Future rightly stresses the need for evidence-based knowledge as the basis for policymaking. This is particularly relevant for science and technology, where media hype often reaches us more rapidly than sound, factual, scientific knowledge. Given the Council's primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security, it could therefore consider the following actions. First, institutionalizing regular horizon scanning dialogues on technological and scientific developments, a format used by the Council in the past. Aside from fostering early awareness on nascent science and technology, these dialogues would also allow for preemptive consideration of what novel protection needs and challenges might arise, and how existing laws, norms, and regulations could be interpreted in light of anticipated applications. And second, leveraging the work and expertise of different UN bodies to the benefit of the Council through ad hoc briefings on scientific and technological fields of particular interest. This could include, for example, annual briefings on the Secretary General's report on the impact of science and technology on international peace and security, specialized briefings from the Scientific Advisory Board for independent advice on breakthroughs in science and technology, and expert advisory support from UNIDIR, whose Futures Lab initiative is dedicated to horizon scanning in the fields of arms control, disarmament, and global security. Crucially, of course, the Council itself can also offer a unique perspective of its own on how scientific advances and new technologies impact peace and security. In this way, it can strengthen the ability of the UN system as a whole to better prevent or respond to newly emerging threats, bolstering in turn the prospect of sustained peace and security in the future. And I thank you for your attention.
Je remercie M. Geiss de son exposé et je donne maintenant la parole au Dr Jocelyne Bloch.
Monsieur le Président, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je suis là aujourd'hui pour vous donner un exemple concret de développement scientifique qui pourra avoir un impact sur la paix, l'humanité, et la sécurité internationale. Durant mes années de médecine, on m'a enseigné cette triste réalité. Une lésion de la moelle épinière conduit à une paralysie qui confine le patient à une chaise roulante pour le reste de sa vie. Cette paralysie est due à l'interruption des commandes que le cerveau envoie pour activer les muscles des jambes. Ces commandes restent bloquées au niveau de la lésion. Pourtant, la région de la moelle épinière qui contrôle les jambes est épargnée par cette lésion. Elle est donc intacte, mais déconnectée du cerveau. Je suis neurochirurgienne et je suis devant vous avec Grégoire Courtine, qui est neuroscientifique. Nous avons tenu à venir tous les deux aujourd'hui, car nous sommes persuadés que cette constellation fut la clé de la réussite accélérée de notre projet scientifique. Ensemble, nous avons développé ce que nous appelons un pont digital entre le cerveau et la moelle épinière. Ce dispositif révolutionnaire contourne la lésion de la moelle épinière en créant un pont digital entre la zone du cerveau qui contrôle les jambes et la région de la moelle épinière qui active les muscles des jambes. Ce pont digital consiste en un premier implant électronique avec des électrodes qui permettent d'enregistrer l'activité des neurones du cerveau qui encodent la motricité des jambes. Et une deuxième intervention, un deuxième implant pour stimuler la région de la moelle épinière qui produit des mouvements des jambes. Une intelligence artificielle décode les pensées du patient sur la base des enregistrements et programme la stimulation de la moelle épinière pour permettre à la personne paralysée de remarcher naturellement. Nous avons récemment appliqué le même principe pour rétablir le mouvement du bras chez un patient tétraplégique. Nous projetons d'étendre le champ d'application de cette thérapie à des paralysies liées à des accidents vasculaires cérébraux ou à des maladies neurodégénératives comme la maladie de Parkinson. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Je remercie le docteur Bloch de son exposé et nous passons au docteur Grégoire Courtine. Vous avez la parole.
Monsieur le Président, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je suis donc parmi vous aujourd'hui avec Jocelyne Bloch pour mettre en lumière les opportunités et les risques qui sont liés à ces applications. Les neurosciences et les neurotechnologies avancent à une telle rapidité que nous pouvons d'ores et déjà prédire que dans la prochaine décennie, de nombreux patients souffrant de paralysie devraient avoir accès à ces traitements. Ces progrès auront un impact significatif sur la vie de nombreuses personnes, notamment des jeunes sportifs accidentés, des soldats revenant du combat paralysés, voire des civils victimes collatérales. Par exemple, nous avons récemment traité une patiente issue des zones de conflit en cours. En plus des améliorations évidentes pour la santé physique et mentale des patients, vaincre la paralysie aura un impact important pour la société et l'économie. Alors bien sûr, ces innovations posent des questions éthiques et de sécurité. Nous avons équipé le cerveau avec un nouveau canal digital de communication, dont les applications potentielles sont immenses. Par exemple, nos patients sont capables de contrôler un drone juste avec leurs pensées. Nous pouvons donc anticiper le moment où les avancées de ces interfaces cerveau-machine permettront à des personnes saines d'utiliser cette nouvelle forme de communication pour des usages qui seront non thérapeutiques, voire militaires. On doit également réfléchir aux problèmes de sécurité, comme les conséquences de l'arrêt inattendu de ce pont digital suite à des perturbations dues aux champs électromagnétiques qui sont présents dans nos environnements, voire du piratage des données neurologiques qui permettent d'opérer ce pont digital pour marcher. Et bien que ces problèmes semblent peu probable dans un avenir proche, les préoccupations sont réelles. Nous nous trouvons donc à un moment charnière. Ce qui relevait de la science-fiction il y a quelques décennies devient progressivement réalité. C'est maintenant notre responsabilité collective de façonner cette nouvelle ère de manière éthique et sécurisée, tout en ouvrant la voie à des progrès qui transformeront des vies. Merci de votre attention.
Je remercie le docteur Courtine de son exposé et je donne la parole à Monsieur Amin Awad. Vous avez la parole.
Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to address this chamber today. I stand before you today not as a scientist, but as someone who has spent decades on the front lines of international peace and security, confronting some of the world's most challenging humanitarian crises. I want to share with you some moments that have stayed with me throughout these years. In January 1991, during the first Gulf War, I was on the Iraqi-Jordanian border with the United Nations, preparing for what I hoped would never come, a chemical weapon attack. My assigned protective suit hanging in my tent was a reminder of the thin line between life and death. Beside it lay 3 injectors, 20 centimeters long, each one of them. Antidotes meant to counter the effects of deadly chemicals that would descend upon us at any moment. I remember holding one of those injectors in my hands, knowing that if an attack occurred, I might survive by plunging it into my leg. At that moment, I thought about the thousands of civilians in nearby towns and villages, in communities living in camps, unaware of the threat that loomed. They had no such protection. They had no antidotes. And in that moment, a chilling realization struck me. Science had created both a weapon and means of survival, but only for a select few. For everyone else, there was no escape. This was not just about survival. It was about a stark imbalance, a moral dilemma that confronted me then and haunts me to this day. Science, in the form of my protective suit and injectors, had become both a savior and a gatekeeper. It offered hope to some while leaving others vulnerable to the full force of human-made horror. Excellencies, my fellow briefers have just outlined how breakthroughs in the emerging technologies hold the power to change our world. This is our collective wake-up call, a moral call. Our collective wake-up call, a moral call. Due to the acceleration of science, the Security Council and the United Nations have to, of course, remain seized of these developments and consider the imbalance of existing normative frameworks. The family of treaties that constitute international humanitarian law, particularly the Geneva Convention of 1949 and their additional protocols, have survive the test of time, remain relevant, and offer a beacon of hope all the time. Member states in this chamber and the General Assembly have proven that we can create universally accepted norms that govern the conduct of hostilities, providing crucial protection for civilians, prisoners of war, and aid workers. We need to ensure that these technologies do not become chemical weapons of tomorrow, and are instead harnessed for the good of humanity and the global public good. We need a human right-based, gender-sensitive approach to ensuring that technological advancement are inclusive of the different needs of women, men, girls, and boys. In the spirit of the Secretary General's Agenda for Peace, there is a moral duty to build consensus on the substance and adherence to these norms. The Security Council then must lead on issues related to international peace and security. This chamber has the mandate and the responsibility to establish global norms that are fit for the future. We propose multilateral dialogue and multi-stakeholder consultation, including with parliamentary assemblies around the globe, as outlined in General Assembly Resolution A7743, to also ensure that scientific developments are harnessed for peace. Regular updates in this chamber and in the General Assembly on scientific and technological developments would ensure that the Council remain ahead of the curve all the time and not behind it. Let us act with courage and foresight to ensure that emerging technologies fulfill their promise to advance global peace and security. Scientific advancements in neurotechnology, synthetic biology, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing are already reshaping our world. They deserve our full attention, and we welcome further discussion on how the Security Council can anticipate, adapt, and respond to these developments. No effort should be spared to ensure these developments are for the benefit of human and not for evil. Not for evil. Let us seize the opportunity to shape the future where scientific progress serves humanity's highest ideals. I thank you very much.
Je remercie M. Awad de son exposé. Je vais maintenant faire une déclaration en ma qualité de conseiller fédéral et chef du département fédéral des affaires étrangères de la Suisse. Je remercie tout d'abord les briefers pour leurs excellentes contributions. Les nouvelles technologies redessinent les relations entre les personnes, entre les organisations et notre environnement. Cela n'est pas nouveau. Ce qu'il est, en revanche, c'est que la vitesse du progrès dépasse désormais largement la vitesse biologique de notre évolution, créant de profondes fractures dans la société. Ce qui était de l'ordre de la science-fiction il y a 10 ans ou 15 ans est en passe de devenir notre nouvelle réalité. Nous en avons eu un exemple édifiant tout à l'heure, l'impact sur la paix et la sécurité des avancées en neurosciences et neurotechnologie sera conséquent. Les neurotechnologies pourront bientôt améliorer la précision des soldats, leur endurance, leur tolérance à la douleur. Ces avancées permettront aux soldats de contrôler des membres supplémentaires ou d'acquérir de nouveaux sens, comme par exemple voir dans l'obscurité. L'intégration de l'intelligence artificielle et de neurotechnologie permettra une prise de décision ultra rapide, posant des questions essentielles sur le contrôle de ces décisions dans la guerre et finalement sur la manière de garantir l'applicabilité des conventions de Genève. Mesdames et messieurs, le maintien de la paix et de la sécurité internationale est aujourd'hui une tâche à la fois urgente et complexe. Ce Conseil, d'ailleurs, en sait quelque chose. Il devient alors encore plus urgent de se préparer. En un mot, d'anticiper. Nous sommes obligés de considérer la dynamique mondiale à travers le prisme de la science, car l'accélération rapide de cette dernière aura un impact profond sur tous les aspects de notre vie, y compris sur la paix et sur la sécurité. Nous devons nous préparer à relever les futurs défis liés à la science, parce que le futur, c'est ici et maintenant. Hic et nunc, comme disaient les latins. C'est l'appel que la Suisse lance aujourd'hui avec l'organisation de ce briefing. Explorer, comprendre et anticiper le rôle de la science dans la politique de sécurité. Comment faire respecter la charte de l'ONU et le droit international humanitaire, plus que jamais essentiel, face à ces disruptions. Comment défendre nos principes d'humanité face au risque des guerres déshumanisées? Excellences, c'est précisément pour répondre à cet appel que la Suisse a fondé le centre Geneva Science and Diplomacy Anticipator, GESDA, en 2019, avec des résultats concrets. Tout d'abord, l'Open Quantum Institute, inauguré l'année dernière, qui vise à mettre la technologie quantique au service du bien commun, accessible à tous. Et puis, cette année, l'Anticipation Gateway Initiative, lancé il y a tout juste 10 jours, qui vise à démocratiser l'accès de la science et la technologie de pointe. Mesdames et messieurs, gouverner, c'est prévoir, disait Adolphe Thiers, le premier président de la Troisième République de France, et je regarde la France, à la fin du XIXe siècle. Le corollaire de la maxime est moins connu, mais tout aussi juste. Ne rien prévoir, ce n'est pas gouverner, c'est courir à sa perte. Avançons donc dans la bonne direction. Bien que certains aspects évoqués rappellent un film d'anticipation, nous devons les intégrer de manière transversale dans la suite de nos travaux. Cela nous évitera que des éléments normatifs arrivent après le débat, trop tard donc, au lieu de les avoir anticipés et accompagnés. La Suisse est convaincue que le Conseil de sécurité doit maintenir son attention sur la question scientifique. Il doit s'appuyer sur des experts de haut niveau et des outils tels que GESDA déjà disponibles. Le Conseil doit également se pencher sur l'impact de ces avancées sur les opérations de paix. Nous recommandons également que le secrétaire général informe régulièrement le Conseil des avancées scientifiques et de leur impact potentiel sur la paix, soit par un briefing annuel, soit dans ses rapports thématiques inscrits à l'agenda de ce Conseil. Nous espérons aussi que d'autres pays alimenteront régulièrement ce thème central. Mesdames et messieurs, ce Conseil se doit d'investir dans l'anticipation. Vous pouvez compter sur l'engagement de la Suisse, sur le partage des connaissances et des partenariats scientifiques développés notamment au sein de la Genève internationale. Je vous remercie pour votre participation à ce briefing et j'espère que nous porterons cette vision commune régulièrement dans ce Conseil et au-delà. Je reprends maintenant mes fonctions de président du Conseil et je donne la parole à Son Excellence Madame Kaji Misako, ambassadrice pour la coopération scientifique et technologique, assistante spéciale auprès du ministère des Affaires étrangères du Japon. Vous avez la parole.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. I thank you for convening this timely and important meeting. Advances in science and technology, as eloquently described by the briefers today, including in the case of neuroscience and frontline war zone experience, are proving to be transformative for all human activities, including diplomacy. As for neuroscience, Japan, for instance, funds moonshot projects to foster cybernetic avatars, aiming for 2050. Japan fully appreciates your initiative in bringing science to this Council with a vision towards the future and the effective use of science methodologies in the Council's work. Mr. President, new and emerging technologies are playing an increasingly important role in national and international security. At the same time, distinguishing between civilian and security-related uses of these cutting-edge technologies has become complicated than ever, and they keep advancing at top speed. It has become all the more important to address these challenges and form a safe environment for innovation, including through regulations and collaboration. This Council should be mindful of current undertakings in various fora within and outside the UN when considering this agenda. Japan was one of the earliest co-sponsors of the UN General Assembly resolution adopted last March that focused on using AI to attain the SDGs. Here we are reminded that the three pillars of the UN are intertwined in many ways. Mr. President, this Council should be cognizant of technological tools when authorizing peace operations. Safety and security of UN personnel, both civilian and in uniform, is a prerequisite for efficient and effective operations. For example, access to specialized medical services in the field is often limited. Casualties of peacekeepers record high, having exceeded 100 a year at times. Telemedicine utilizes digital communication technology to connect missions with different levels of medical facilities and provide timely and high-quality medical care to peacekeepers. Japan supports this project under the UN Triangular Partnership Program in collaboration with the troop contributing countries. Mr. President, the world must join forces to support innovation while properly mitigating the risks and misuse of emerging technologies. Japan has led the international discussion on the governance of advanced AI systems to achieve safe, secure, trustworthy AI, including through the Hiroshima AI process. Launched in May 2023, this process led to the development of the International Guiding Principles and the Code of Conduct, on which more than 50 countries in its friends group are now working to address the risks of generative AI. Mr. President, the international community has been facing multiple crises as climate change and pandemic, which can be root causes of serious agenda in this Council. Science and technology could serve as the means and the catalyst for states to unite and meet these common challenges, and the Council is well placed for this. Emerging technologies should be developed and used responsibly to prevent conflicts, ensuring rule of law, human dignity, and human security. Last month, the Pact for the Future was adopted with a chapter on science and technology. Japan intends to build on this momentum and continue participating proactively to strengthen the functions of the United Nations, including by enhancing the effectiveness of Security Council actions that leverage science and technology. I thank you.
Je remercie Son Excellence Madame Kaji de sa déclaration. Je donne maintenant la parole au représentant de la République de Corée.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I extend my gratitude to the briefers for their valuable insights. New and emerging technologies such as neurotechnology, quantum technology, and synthetic biology have the potential to reshape the global peace and security landscape. While scientific innovations offer significant benefits, their dual-use nature also presents notable risks. The Security Council must cultivate a balanced understanding of the impact of the emerging technologies on peace and security. Science and technology are inherently value neutral. The way we utilize them will determine whether this Oppenheimer moment leads to enhanced security or unprecedented disruption. In this context, my delegation commends Switzerland for bringing this issue to our attention. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing both the development and application of new technologies, as demonstrated by this year's Nobel Prizes in physics and chemistry being awarded to AI scientists. The international community must pay greater attention to AI's implications. The Republic of Korea has been making considerable efforts to foster global discourse on AI governance by hosting the AI Seoul Summit and the AI Global Forum in May, with the adoption of the Seoul Declaration for AI Safety, Security, and Innovation. Building on this momentum, we hosted the 2024 RE-AIM Summit last month, endorsing the Blueprint for Action, which laid out a roadmap for establishing norms and governance of responsible AI in the military domain, with the support from 63 countries. We also tabled a resolution together with the Netherlands to the First Committee of the General Assembly, requesting the Secretary General to submit a report on the opportunities and challenges posed to international peace and security by the application of AI in the military domain. We hope that this report, once finalized, could serve as a cornerstone for the potential role of the Security Council in this area. Mr. President, the Security Council must also address rapidly increasing threats in cyberspace as a key security issue. In this regard, the Republic of Korea hosted an ARIA formula meeting in April and a high-level open debate on cybersecurity as a signature event of the ROK's presidency of the Security Council in June of this year, highlighting the connection between malicious cyber activities and broader security threats, including non-proliferation, public safety, and democracy. My delegation will continue to advocate for elevating the profile of cybersecurity within the Council, enabling it to move beyond the diagnosis to hopefully offer prescription and treatment for these threats. Finally, Mr. President, governments alone may lack the expertise to detect and monitor technological developments of concern, and our policy processes may struggle to keep pace with their speed. Therefore, we believe that engagement with multi-stakeholders, including industry, academia, and civil society, is vital in paving the way towards a more agile and responsible governance of emerging technologies. The Republic of Korea remains committed to continuing its constructive role to address the broader implications of emerging technologies on international peace and security. I thank you, Mr. President.
Je remercie le représentant de la République de la Corée et je donne maintenant la parole au représentant de l'Algérie.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. I thank Switzerland for the excellent choice of the theme of our briefing today. And we listened carefully to the remarks of Mr. Robert Geiss, Professor Jocelyn Bloch, Professor Grégoire Courtine, and Mr. Amin Awad. Mr. President, today we stand at a critical juncture in human history as we grapple with unprecedented scientific achievements. We must ensure that these innovations serve all of humanity, not just a few. Rapid progress presents both promise and peril, and we stand at a crossroad where the decision of the international community will shape the future of international peace and security. But let us be clear. This future must be inclusive, equitable, and just. I have 7 points. First, we must address the technological divide. As these groundbreaking technologies emerge, we risk deepening the gap between developed and developing countries. This Council must prioritize technology transfer and capacity building for the Global South. Science should unite us, not exacerbate gaps further. Second, we call for a truly inclusive decision-making. The future of global security cannot be determined by a selected few. We advocate for involving experts to ensure robust representation from the Global South. Our scientists, our policymakers, our voices must be heard. Third, we must confront decisively the misuse and deviation of new technologies. The potential for militarization is huge, and it is a grave concern. Algeria calls for strengthening disarmament measures to include this new frontier. Science should not be used to nurture, peace, not conflict. Fourth, we must align scientific advancements with sustainable development. How can science address climate change? How can nanotechnology combat poverty? These are the questions we must answer. Science should serve our sustainable development goals, not sideline them. Fifth, we must protect the sovereignty of nations in this new scientific boom. The risk of the use of technological advancement to interfere in internal affairs is real and pressing. Remember, Pegasus. We call for robust international norms to safeguard national sovereignty as these technologies advance. 6, we must ensure that ethical consideration guide our path forward. The development and application of these technologies must respect diverse cultural perspective and uphold the rule of law. We must ensure that our progress does not compromise our humanity. 7th, we must address the financial implication. Keeping pace with this rapid advance is very costly. Mechanisms for financial support are crucial to ensure that developing countries are not left behind in this scientific revolution. Finally, Mr. President, we must emphasize the peaceful application of emerging technologies, from enhancing UN peacekeeping capabilities to advancing humanitarian assistance. The potential for good is immense. However, this potential can only be realized through equitable access and deployment. To conclude, I want to remember the successful adoption this year of the outcome of the Comprehensive International Convention on countering the use of information and communication technologies for criminal purposes. This successful adoption has been led by Algeria. This is a perfect example of multilateralism, success. Colleagues, the challenges before us are great, but so are the opportunities. I thank you.
Je remercie le représentant de l'Algérie et je donne maintenant la parole au représentant de la France.
Monsieur le Président, je tiens à remercier la présidence suisse d'avoir organisé cette réunion ainsi que les différents intervenants pour leur présentation. Je souhaite insister sur 3 points. Tout d'abord, le progrès scientifique doit contribuer à créer les conditions de long terme favorables à la paix. Je pense au changement climatique et à ses conséquences. La science doit contribuer à en réduire l'impact. C'est le sens de la résolution portée par la France et le Tadjikistan pour lancer la décennie des sciences et de la cryosphère, en lien avec l'engagement du président Macron lors du One Polar Summit en 2023. La coopération scientifique internationale dans le domaine de la santé peut aussi contribuer à la paix. Durant l'épidémie de Covid, la France était à l'initiative du mécanisme COVAX pour un accès équitable aux vaccins. Aujourd'hui, nous continuons de nous tenir aux côtés de nos partenaires africains par le soutien au Centre africain de contrôle et de prévention des maladies et la lutte contre l'épidémie Mpox. Deuxièmement, le progrès scientifique doit être mis au service de l'action des Nations Unies en faveur de la paix et de la sécurité. Celles-ci sont présentes sur le terrain dans les zones de crise et elles peuvent établir les faits. Pour ce faire, et comme rappelé dans le nouvel agenda pour la paix, il est essentiel de mettre le progrès technologique au service des opérations de paix. Il en va de la sécurité des casques bleus et des agents des Nations Unies déployés et aussi de leur capacité à mener efficacement leur mission. La justice internationale joue un rôle crucial dans le maintien de la paix et de la sécurité internationale. Les développements scientifiques sont au cœur des efforts de justice internationale, de lutte contre l'impunité et de redevabilité, notamment dans la collecte de preuves en cas de soupçon de crimes dans des zones de conflit. Troisièmement, les Nations Unies doivent dès à présent identifier les avancées scientifiques et les technologies de rupture qui auront un impact sur le maintien de la paix. Nous observons déjà l'impact des technologies de l'information sur notre action collective. Celles-ci ont permis des gains de productivité évidents et leur utilisation est encadrée par le cadre normatif de comportement responsable des États. Néanmoins, elles aggravent le défi systémique des manipulations de l'information auxquelles sont aujourd'hui confrontées les opérations de paix. La France attache une importance particulière au développement régulé et à l'utilisation d'une intelligence artificielle sûre et sécurisée. Elle organisera un sommet pour l'action sur l'intelligence artificielle à Paris les 10 et 11 février prochains pour encourager la coopération multilatérale et multipartite et contribuer à la mise en place d'un cadre de gouvernance internationale fondé sur la recherche d'un consensus scientifique international. Enfin, la France reste convaincue du potentiel des avancées en matière d'exploration et d'utilisation de l'espace extra-atmosphérique, à condition que celle-ci soit employée à des fins pacifiques. Je vous remercie.
Je remercie le représentant de la France de sa déclaration. Et je donne maintenant la parole au représentant de la Chine.
主席，中方感谢卡西斯外长主持此次会议。我认真听取了各位专家学者的发言，很受启发。新一轮科技革命 迅猛发展是当今时代的显著特征。科技发展在赋能各行各业，为人类带来巨大便利和机遇的同时，也对国际和平与安全带来新的挑战。互联网已成为犯罪团伙和恐怖组织招募、融资、策划作案的重要渠道。深度伪造技术被滥用，助长虚假信息传播，引发社会争议和族群撕裂。网络攻击、网络窃密频发，损害许多国家的安全和公共利益。人工智能的军事应用正在颠覆传统战争形态，引发广泛担忧。在近期加沙和黎巴嫩冲突中，我们看到人工智能驱动的算法和远程操控可以造成难以想象的破坏和平民伤亡。滥用科技违反国际人道法的行为应该得到谴责和抵制。中国高度关注科技治理问题，我们推动安理会于2021年首次讨论新兴科技，欢迎安理会对此保持关注，支持安理会为履行自身职责，循序渐进地把科技纳入工作视野。科技是把双刃剑，我们需要统筹发展和安全，既鼓励创新，又管控风险，让科技发展真正造福各国和各国人民。我愿强调3点看法：第一，坚持科技向善，这是规范科技发展的基本要求。要确保科技研发和应用符合伦理规范，符合公认的国际法准则，符合文明进步的方向。我们支持联合国发挥全球科技治理主渠道作用，推动各国在广泛参与、充分讨论的基础上，探讨建立普遍接受的规则规范。第二，弥合数字鸿沟。这不仅是共同发展的要求，也是应对安全风险的需要。发展中国家长期被排除在科技进步之外，就容易成为全球安全的薄弱环节。要支持和帮助发展中国家迎头赶上，平等享受科技进步带来的机遇。中方推动第78届联大通过了人工智能能力建设国际合作决议，并在今年9月宣布了人工智能能力建设普惠计划。我们将积极落实计划提出的5大愿景和10项行动，支持全球南方加强人工智能基础设施、产业赋能、人才培养、数据建设和安全治理，共享智能红利。第三，确保安全可控是科技发展的底线要求。要确保人工智能始终在人类的控制之下，防止出现机器自主杀人。要反对滥用科技优势侵犯他国主权，干涉他国内政，破坏他国稳定。要防范网络攻击、网络窃密和网络军备竞赛，特别是保障关键信息基础设施安全。中方将继续在联大推动和平利用国际合作决议，支持推进防扩散目标的同时，促进发展中国家不受歧视的和平利用科技。主席，科学无国界， 近代以来人类科学探索和技术创新的每一次重大突破，从来都是在国际交流合作中取得的。应对科技变革带来的风险挑战，同样离不开国际合作。令人遗憾的是，一些有违科学发展规律和历史潮流的做法正在抬头。我们看到个别国家泛化国家安全概念，以防范风险为由，无底线打压别国高科技企业。他们鼓吹所谓的脱钩断链，对国家间正常的经贸往来和科技交流设置障碍。他们还精心组织各类小圈子，将特定国家排除在外，构筑所谓的小院高墙。这些做法同国家安全的关系实在过于牵强，真实意图是固化自身技术垄断，阻碍他国发展。其本质是零和博弈的冷战思维在作祟。这一系列消极操作已经搅起一片纷乱，小院高墙正在变成大院铁幕，严重破坏产业链供应链稳定，加剧发展鸿沟，阻碍科技进步。我们尤为担忧的是，同科技本身带来的风险相比，这种人为制造分裂的做法，对国际和平与安全的危害更大，最终可能把世界带入对抗的深渊。古特雷斯秘书长已明确警告，世界被人为分割成两个市场、两套规则、两大体系，强迫各国选边站队，将给所有国家带来严重的后果。主席，正如未来契约所强调的那样，国际合作不是选项，而是必须。只有开展最广泛的合作，让科技创新服务于联合国三大支柱工作愿景，只有让科技创新服务于联合国三大支柱工作愿景才能实现。我们呼吁各国共同秉持开放包容的理念，以落实未来契约为契机，支持联合国发挥全球科技治理主渠道的作用，推动科学技术助力共同发展、共同安全、共同进步。谢谢主席。
Je remercie le président de la Chine et je donne maintenant la parole à la représentante du Royaume-Uni.
Thank you, President. And can I start by thanking you for bringing this important issue of peace and security to our agenda today. I'd also like to extend our thanks to Dr. Geiss, Professor Bloch, Professor Courtine and Mr. Awad for their insightful and compelling briefings. I'd like to highlight 3 points, drawing out, in fact, themes from our excellent briefings. First, we share the view that the Council must remain ahead of emerging threats. As the briefers noted, advances in neurotechnology, engineering biology, and artificial intelligence offer significant potential, but also create risks that can impact on international peace and security. This is particularly true as these advances intersect, causing a compounding effect. In future, quantum technologies may break the most advanced cryptographic encryption, threatening secure communications and information systems that underpin peace and humanitarian operations. While human augmentation technologies, such as exoskeletons, can facilitate quicker and more effective decision-making on the battlefield and may be exploited by malicious actors. Today, AI is already being weaponized by state and non-state actors to spread disinformation at scale. and the UK is actively working to counter the impacts of disinformation through data-driven tools and localised information verification systems, including through the AI Summit series, which was launched in Bletchley last year and to which Korea and France have already alluded. So we endorse the briefer's recommendations for the Council to deepen its collaboration with the scientific community and systematically to incorporate scientific analysis into reports and briefings on existing Council files. Second, many scientific and technological advances, as we've heard, are dual use. So there is a role for this Council to promote the development of national, regional and international governance approaches that enable economic growth and development while mitigating risks to security. It is essential that technologies are researched, developed and deployed responsibly and ethically in accordance with international law, including international human rights and humanitarian law. Third, the Council can prevent emerging threats before they escalate by better integrating scientific tools into decision-making, developing capabilities for early warning through data analytics, as the UK has done through support to the AU's early warning mechanism and the UN's Complex Risk and Analytics Fund, can enable the Council to better anticipate risks and make timely, informed decisions. In conclusion, President, the UK remains committed to ensuring that technological progress serves as a force for peace and security, not instability. I thank you.
Je remercie la représentante du Royaume-Uni et je passe la parole à la représentante de Guyana.
Thank you, Mr. President. At the outset, I would like to thank Switzerland for organizing today's open debate and for their ongoing efforts to ensure that the Council keeps abreast of the discussions on this topic. As we grapple with the proliferation of conflicts across the globe, it is essential that the Council properly examine both the transformative potential of science and technology in fostering peace and security and their potential harmful use in exacerbating conflicts. I would like to thank our briefers, Dr. Geiss, Mr. Awad, Professor Bloch, and Professor Courtine, for their informative remarks, exploring current and future scientific developments and their implications for global peace and security, as well as how the Council can best make use of these new tools to fulfill its mandate. The world is rapidly changing, with new technological and scientific advancements emerging almost daily. Whether we look to artificial intelligence, quantum computing, or medical and biotechnology, new tools are being developed and employed across every sector. We are at a critical juncture where we must urgently adapt both our mindsets and legal frameworks to ensure that the application of scientific tools is used to radically enhance our ability to address global challenges and not to widen divisions and inequalities. These new developments that facilitate the control of big data, propel cyber and information warfare, and exploit nanotechnology and biotechnology have placed us in an era of unprecedented risks. Our traditional understanding of what constitutes war, who are the combatants and civilians, and what constitutes dual-use goods must be reimagined and even redefined. The digital world has also created new challenges to sovereignty and territorial integrity as we traditionally know it within physical borders, and the ability to cripple an enemy without a single bullet or bomb is no longer science fiction. Mr. President, the Security Council is mandated to address threats to international peace and security. This requires not only responding to crises when they occur, but also critically anticipating and preventing conflicts, including to ensure the protection of civilians. The use of science and technological innovations can provide a unique set of horizon scanning tools that can equip the Council in employing preventive diplomacy. Science, if effectively and ethically utilized, can be used to craft evidence-based policy solutions. This will require that governments play a more active role in the development phase, not taking a backseat to private sector innovation. It will also require international cooperation in the governance and responsible deployment of these new tools. Mr. President, Guyana has long advocated for increased emphasis on conflict prevention, including on the nexus between climate change, food insecurity, and conflict. In this area, the use of science to predict the effects and prevent catastrophic consequences from these drivers of conflict can be an apt illustration of how science and technology can positively impact peace and security. Such use of scientific tools to identify climate change risks to national, regional, and international peace and security, and the interplay between climate, food insecurity, and conflict will be critical in preventing conflicts that will arise over issues related to resource scarcity and mass displacement. Mr. President, dear colleagues, as a small developing country, Guyana underscores that even as we engage in discussions on the impact of scientific development on peace and security, there is a clear gap between the countries where these new technologies are developed and those where they are most likely to be deployed. Additionally, there is the issue of access to these technologies, whether to advance peace and development or for harmful use. The reality is that most armed conflicts occur in the developing world, where these new technologies, for the most part, are not being developed. This Council and the international community as a whole must ensure that the developing world do not become the playground for the developers to test the lethal effects of their new tools, and instead to be an active participant in their utilization for national development and the promotion of peace and prosperity. Alongside innovation, there must be an equal focus on capacity building and technology transfer to the developing world. Mr. President, these conversations are only the beginning of what must be a sustained effort by the Council to effectively consider the various emerging issues and their impacts on the maintenance of international peace and security. Guyana is prepared to be an active partner in any initiative that can enhance the ability of the Council to effectively execute its mandate in a manner that is objective, ethical, science and data-driven. I thank you.
Je remercie la représentante de Guyana et je passe la parole à la représentante de Malte.
Thank you, President. I begin by thanking the Swiss Presidency for organizing today's briefing on this important and highly topical matter. I also thank all the briefers for their insightful remarks. President, science and technology are advancing at an unprecedented pace, with a significant impact on matters relating to security, development, climate change, and human rights, amongst others. Emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, are reshaping the way we live, work, and interact. In an increasingly interconnected world, it remains in our interest to leverage these advancements towards international cooperation, peace and security, and gender equality. Scientific and technological progress can bring us closer towards achieving the SDGs, such as by combating food insecurity through enhancing efficiency in food production. Additionally, it can play a crucial role in our collective efforts to tackle climate change and in peacekeeping. In this regard, we recognize the indispensable work of climate, peace and security advisors engaged with select UN missions in identifying climate-related impacts. New technologies have the potential of serving crucial tools to mitigate climate-induced threats that lead to resource scarcity and conflict. On the flip side, technological progress can bear devastating consequences that transcend national borders if applied for military purposes or to restrict fundamental human rights. As established in the Pact for the Future, including in the Global Digital Compact, we must seize the opportunities associated with emerging technologies while also addressing the risks posed by their misuse. Against this backdrop, the international community, including through the Security Council, must ensure governance and accountability for the use of emerging technologies. Through a multi-stakeholder engagement, the Council must consider technological advancements as an integral part of its work, while also countering mis- and disinformation. President, Malta is particularly concerned about the use of AI-enabled systems in the military domain. Lethal autonomous weapons systems raise significant legal, ethical, and security concerns. We continue to stress that human control must be retained over autonomous weapons systems, as no machine can make life and death decisions. In this regard, clear and binding restrictions must be imposed on laws that do not comply with international humanitarian law. We must also ensure that women participate fully and equally in all processes related to emerging technologies, and that these advancements equally benefit women and girls. Furthermore, all efforts aimed at regulating emerging technologies must be rooted in the full respect for human rights. Generative AI challenges us to ask the right questions and seek the right answers. In this spirit, we shall not be guided simply by fear of what we do not yet fully comprehend. Instead, we should strive towards regulation, coordinated oversight, and collective governance of new and emerging technologies to ensure that they serve the principles and purposes of the UN Charter. To conclude, President, science and technology have the potential to enhance our efforts towards peace, sustainable development, and the respect for human rights for all. The Security Council has an important role to play in this regard, including by providing a powerful platform for our collective work. Thank you.
Je remercie la représentante de Malte de sa déclaration et je donne maintenant la parole au représentant de Slovénie.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we also want to thank Switzerland for bringing this important topic to our agenda. I would also like to thank our briefers, Dr. Geiss, Dr. Bloch, Dr. Courtine, and Mr. Awad, for their insightful briefings. Mr. President, rapidly advancing and converging technologies are undoubtedly revolutionizing conflict dynamics. We are witnessing application of these developments on a daily basis live from the Middle East and Ukraine. Drone warfare, cyber warfare, and the growing military use of artificial intelligence are a reality. But as the briefers have highlighted, they are far from the only technologies capable of posing risks to peace and security. The Security Council, as the primary organ responsible for international peace and security, must do its utmost to keep up with developments not only in technology but also in science and innovation in order to anticipate and prevent threats to peace and security. It must also promote the responsible behavior of all involved actors. This is crucial to prevent the weaponization of emerging domains and promote responsible innovation in accordance with the Secretary General's recommendation in the new Agenda for Peace. Mr. President, to fulfill that recommendation, Slovenia believes it is essential to establish a robust international framework to govern the responsible use of science, technology, and innovation, ensuring it contributes to peace rather than exacerbates tensions. In our view, drawing on UN processes related to new and emerging technologies, such an international framework must consist of at least two components. First, there must be a clear consensus among the Member States that international law, particularly international humanitarian and human rights law, applies to developments in science and technology and innovation. Second, there must be the establishment of norms, rules and principles that govern the development, deployment and use of these advancements to mitigate risks. The framework must strike a balance between innovation and ethical standards, ensuring that scientific developments and technological progress do not undermine stability or create new security threats. Mr. President, let me underscore that STI has the potential for concrete applications that support the Security Council decisions. On one hand, it enables the incorporation of evidence-based information into its decision-making process. Recognizing the importance placed by the Secretary-General's Scientific Advisory Board on evidence-based decision-making, we emphasize the UN's critical role in providing neutral and impartial analysis to the Security Council. In different instances, such analysis can also be provided by other trusted actors. On the other hand, developments in STI hold promise for improving various aspects of the work of UN integrated missions. The combined use of satellite imagery, AI, and quantum computing can identify, for instance, climate and environmental factors that drive conflict and instability, pinpoint hotspots where intervention may be needed, and assist in logistics and mission planning. Through advanced data analytics, these developments can also provide vital protection for women and girls by identifying patterns of sexual and gender-based violence and enhancing the response of peacekeeping forces to threats against people in vulnerable situations. Mr. President, to conclude, by leveraging developments in STI and strategic foresight, the Security Council can, in our opinion, become better equipped to enhance international peace and security through improved conflict prevention and peace building. Thank you.
Je remercie le représentant de la Slovénie de sa déclaration et je donne maintenant la parole à la représentante des États-Unis d'Amérique.
Mr. President, Federal Councillor Cassis, thank you for calling this session, and we'd like to express appreciation to Switzerland for leading the discussion on the impact of scientific developments on international peace and security. Thank you also to our briefers, Mr. Geiss, Dr. Bloch, Dr. Courtine, and Mr. Awad, for your insightful comments. As President Biden emphasized to the General Assembly, the question with respect to technologies such as artificial intelligence is how we govern them and manage their associated risks, rather than allowing the technology to govern us. The United States has been at the forefront of these efforts. Last March, all 193 member states joined consensus and adopted the first GA resolution, setting out a common framework for safe, secure, trustworthy AI. The resolution recognizes the tremendous potential for AI to help accelerate progress toward the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, and also the imperative of ensuring that AI systems are designed, tested, and deployed in a manner consistent with the UN Charter and the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. That resolution left no one behind, and indeed laid the groundwork for AI systems that leave no one behind by focusing on capacity building and closing digital divides. It emphasized that AI shouldn't be used to undermine peace or repress human rights. It called on those creating advanced AI models to be responsible when it comes to developing and launching new capabilities, and to root out bias and discrimination in AI systems. And it set the stage for a more close collaboration and conversation on both within the UN and beyond. The United States was proud to support the Global Digital Compact, which clarified the agenda for that cooperation and cemented our shared commitment to leveraging technology to advance common good. The United States also supports the commitments in the Pact for the Future on preventing an arms race in outer space, advancing discussion on lethal autonomous weapons, bridging digital divides, and regular updates by the Secretary General on the impact of science and technology on security and disarmament efforts. Mr. President, today's meeting also is a recognition of how dependent our societies have become on science and technology. The Security Council has an important duty to protect that technology. Earlier this year, the United States, joined by 65 countries, put forward a Security Council resolution that affirms the Outer Space Treaty and calls on all member states not to develop nuclear weapons specifically designed to be placed in orbit. That resolution, which was a product of nearly 2 months of constructive negotiations, reflected a simple reality. Placement of nuclear weapons into orbit would not only violate the Outer Space Treaty, it would also threaten human spaceflight, as well as the vital communications, scientific, meteorological, agricultural, commercial, and national security services that any and all satellites provide to people around the globe. Regrettably, one member of this council, the Russian Federation, voted against that resolution, so it was not adopted. It should not have been controversial for the Security Council to affirm the obligations of parties under the Outer Space Treaty, nor should it have been difficult to ask that states work together toward our shared interests. The Security Council needs to address existing risks, even as it monitors for new ones. President, we also recognize that technology also can infringe on human rights. Authoritarian regimes are co-opting technology to censor, surveil, or repress their citizens, including by restricting internet connectivity and spreading disinformation online. It is vital that we confront these abuses. The United States is proud to stand alongside dozens of other countries working under the umbrella of the Freedom Online Coalition to support democratic principles, to safeguard a free and open internet, and to advocate for steps to ensure that, or to help ensure that digital technologies enhance the rights and the privacy of our people and expand broad-based opportunity. For example, the United States, Germany, and Estonia supported the Open Technology Fund, which helped millions of people acquire virtual private networks and empowered journalists and activists around the globe, from Russia to Iran to Cuba. The United States also joined fellow democracies in signing the Council of Europe's AI Convention, the world's first multilateral treaty on AI and human rights. We thank Switzerland once again for its leadership on these critical issues. Thank you.
Je remercie la représentante des États-Unis de sa déclaration et je passe maintenant la parole au représentant de la Fédération de Russie.
Господин министр, приветствуем ваше личное участие в заседании, признательны докладчикам за брифинги. Выбранная вами сегодняшняя тема связи важнейших процессов с наукой буквально у всех на устах. Ведь наука и технологии – это будущее, это развитие, независимость и защищенность. Однако, как и в других сферах, одни страны имеют все, а другие ничего. И мы хотели бы внести вклад в эту актуальную дискуссию, связанную с одной из главных задач ООН – преодолением неравенства и урегулированием его последствий. Научные исследования, технические достижения и инновации могут действительно сыграть свою роль в предотвращении конфликтов и укреплении мира через содействие социально-экономическому развитию. Например, новейшие системы управления водными ресурсами помогают предотвратить водные кризисы в засушливых регионах. Технологии возобновляемой энергетики снижают зависимость от ископаемых ресурсов. Агроэкологические технологии снижают риск продовольственных кризисов. Беспилотные летательные аппараты, доставляя медицинские и продовольственные запасы в труднодоступные зоны, могут содействовать гуманитарным миссиям. Телемедицина позволяет удаленно оказывать медицинскую помощь в кризисной ситуации. При этом приоритетом в международном взаимодействии в этой области должно быть не закамуфлированное под красивые лозунги закрепление технологического превосходства одних стран над другими, а сокращение технологического и цифрового разрыва между развитыми и развивающимися странами. Доступ к современным технологиям и научным данным является критическим фактором для социально-экономического развития и преодоления неравенства. Однако многие страны, особенно глобального юга, все еще остаются отрезанными от этих ресурсов, что повышает их уязвимость к конфликтам и кризисам. Технологии и знания должны быть доступны всем, без дискриминации, способствуя развитию и укреплению мира. Это императив. Россия помогает укреплять технологический суверенитет своих партнеров в разных промышленных сферах, прежде всего в энергетике, формируя полноценные научные и производственные цепочки. Именно так развивается сотрудничество в области мирного атома, когда станции Росатома строятся за рубежом одновременно с подготовкой местных кадров, с обучением инженеров, рабочих, управленцев для новых объектов. По сути, мы не просто строим станцию, а, как говорят в Росатоме, мы создаем для наших партнеров отрасль, новую отрасль энергетики и экономики. Господин председатель, перейдем к тематике связи науки и развития технологий с вопросами международного мира и безопасности. Предлагаю обсуждать ее здесь, в Совете Безопасности. Необходимо принимать во внимание те процессы, которые годами идут в рамках Генассамблеи. В первую очередь, в Первом комитете. Яркий пример — рабочая группа ООН открытого состава по международной информационной безопасности, созданная по инициативе нашей страны. Данный механизм в рамках своего мандата рассматривает все аспекты безопасности в сфере использования информационно-коммуникационных технологий. На этой инклюзивной площадке, решения в рамках которой принимаются консенсусом, все 193 государства-члена на равных ведут дискуссию по этой сложной, многогранной и по-прежнему не до конца изученной теме, в том числе с привлечением технической экспертизы. К слову, один из ключевых элементов ее мандата – углубление общего понимания международного сообщества о том, каким образом международное право применяется в сфере использования ИКТ. Есть и сопряженные процессы по тематике военных аспектов использования искусственного интеллекта. В частности, группа правительственных экспертов по смертоносным автономным системам вооружений при Конвенции о негуманном оружии. Вопросы развития биологических поражающих агентов нового поколения, бесконтрольной биотехнологической деятельности, а также проблемы попадания чувствительных наработок к террористическим организациям рассматриваются государственными участниками Конвенции о запрещении биологического и токсинного оружия. Необходимо возобновление переговоров по универсальному, юридически обязывающему, недискриминационному протоколу с эффективным механизмом проверки выполнения положений КБТО, а также учреждение в рамках Конвенции механизма обзора научно-технологических достижений в биологической сфере. При этом обязательным является учет продолжающейся дискуссии, в том числе активной переговорной работы на указанных выше профильных площадках. Пока эта деятельность продолжается, для Совета Безопасности было бы преждевременно предвосхищать ее выводы. Принципиально важно избежать дублирования усилий и инициатив, которые могли бы подорвать целостность профильных процессов. По тем же соображениям нам в Совете не следовало бы вторгаться в мандат спецкомитета Генеральной Ассамблеи по миротворчеству, который рассматривает во всей полноте вопросы, связанные с эволюцией миротворчества, его технологической и ресурсной базой, в том числе с участием стран, принимающих у себя ООНовские миссии, и стран-поставщиков военных и полицейских контингентов. Не считаем, что в функции Совета входит обсуждение некого нового поколения солдат, более эффективных бойцов. Это антитеза для нашей главной задачи – достижения политического урегулирования конфликтов и мира. Сегодня наша американская коллега упомянула о резолюции, которую они выдвигали в Совете Безопасности о неразмещении оружия массового уничтожения в космосе. При том, что это положение находится в договоре о космосе, который никто не оспаривает, под которым все страны подписались. Но почему-то наши американские коллеги упрямо и упорно отказываются упоминать в этой резолюции иное оружие, тоже стратегического характера, но не оружие массового уничтожения, а ответ на этот вопрос очень прост. Потому что они как раз и собираются размещать его в космосе. Поэтому прежде чем искать сучок в других глазах, найдите бревно свое. Господин председатель, в заключение хотел бы остановиться на важнейшей тенденции в сфере научного сотрудничества, которая, к сожалению, не нашла отражения в вашей концептуальной записке. Помимо очевидного и пока непреодоленного разрыва между развитыми и развивающимися странами в области доступа к научным достижениям, вместо поддержки глобального научного сотрудничества на основе справедливости и открытости мы наблюдаем примеры разрыва исторических связей и прямой дискриминации. В последние годы мы сталкиваемся с проявлениями культуры отмены, в том числе в отношении российской науки. Например, Европейская организация по ядерным исследованиям в ближайшее время прекратит сотрудничество с учеными, связанными с российскими научными организациями. Аналогичная ситуация складывается и с европейским XFEL, где также введен временный запрет для российских ученых на использование объекта. Более того, в ЦЕРН наблюдается явление переманивания научных кадров через смену научного гражданства. Среди других вопиющих примеров дискриминационные требования Организационного комитета Международного геологического конгресса к российским ученым изменить российскую аффилиацию на принадлежность к другой стране в качестве условия для участия в мероприятии в южнокорейском городе Пусане в этом году. Недопустимо, чтобы политические разногласия препятствовали научному прогрессу. Такие действия ослабляют не только мировое научное сообщество, но и подрывают возможность использования науки и технологий на благо решения таких глобальных задач, как обеспечение мира и процветания на нашей планете. Страдать от такого подхода будут страны, находящиеся в уязвимом положении. Перспективы обеспечения технологического и в целом комплексного суверенитета будут отодвигаться от них все дальше. Благодарю вас.
Je remercie également le représentant de la Fédération de Russie de sa déclaration. Je donne maintenant la parole au représentant du Mozambique pour son intervention.
Mr. President, Mozambique commends Switzerland presidency for convening this crucial and timely high-level session on anticipating the impact of scientific developments on international peace and security. We extend our profound appreciation to the expertise and insights offered by our distinguished briefers. Their contributions illustrate the value of interdisciplinary approaches in tackling complex global challenges of our time. Mr. President, the United Nations was born on the vision of prevention to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war. This is, in our view, what makes the Swiss theme most relevant. The rapid advancement in science and technology have opened up new avenues to address the complex challenges we face. They enhance our ability to respond to immediate threats, and they can pave the way for a lasting peace, security, and prosperity for the humankind. However, the potential dual use of scientific and technological advances cannot be ignored. While they offer, on one hand, ample benefits, they can also pose significant risks to international peace and security, and a few can be highlighted. One, innovations in artificial intelligence, robotics, and other fields can lead to the development of advanced weaponry, potentially destabilizing global peace and security. Two, As the world becomes more interconnected, the potential for cyber attack increases, targeting critical infrastructure and sensitive data, posing serious threat to international peace and security. 3, advances in synthetic biology could lead to the creation of new pathogens posing biosecurity threats. To mitigate these and other connected risks, it is crucial that we, the United Nations, establish robust ethical guidelines, regulatory frameworks, and international cooperation. It also requires strong, decisive, and combined actions which, among others, include the following. 1, adopting constructive approaches that promote transparency in accordance with internationally agreed principles and norms. 2, holding regular briefings and producing reports for the fruition of the entire international community on the latest scientific advancements and their possible impacts on peace and security. 3, engaging in scenario plannings to explore various future possibilities and develop strategies to address potential risks and opportunities. 4, creating and strengthening panels of scientists, technologists, and ethicists to continuously monitor and assess emerging technologies and their potential implications. 5, improving predictive analytics to help anticipate and prevent conflicts, allowing for proactive measures rather than reactive responses. 6, on the basis of shared goals, fostering international collaboration to share knowledge, resources, and best practices in managing technological advancements. 7, investing in technical and institutional capacity building to ensure that no nation is left behind, that all nations, especially the developing countries with limited resources, can effectively manage and benefit from scientific development. This includes education, training, and infrastructure development. By taking these steps, this Council and the international community as a whole can better anticipate and mitigate the risks associated with scientific developments, ensuring a more secure, peaceful, and just world. Mr. President, we believe the Pact for the Future we have just adopted a few weeks ago breathed new life into our collective aspirations. By reinforcing a multilateral system grounded in shared principles, vision, and goals, we can foster stronger global cooperation to benefit international peace and security, always guided by the Charter of the United Nations and the international law. I thank you.
Je remercie le représentant du Mozambique de sa déclaration. Je passe maintenant la parole au représentant de l'Équateur.
Gracias, señor presidente, canciller Cassis. Ecuador agradece a Suiza por organizar esta visionaria reunión y a los panelistas por sus valiosas contribuciones. La ciencia y la tecnología han estado siempre en el centro del progreso humano. Hoy nos encontramos en un punto de inflexión. Los avances científicos y tecnológicos prometen mejorar nuestras sociedades, al tiempo que presentan desafíos sin precedentes para la estabilidad global. El Consejo de Seguridad debe mantener su capacidad de adaptarse y responder a las dinámicas emergentes de un mundo en constante cambio. Este Consejo puede aprovechar la ciencia, los datos y las estadísticas como herramientas para la toma de decisiones, siempre bajo una gestión humana y a través de una colaboración científica inclusiva, ética y despolitizada. El aprovechamiento del tsunami tecnológico debería permitir que los debates del Consejo de Seguridad cuenten con una base sólida de información que incluya estadísticas precisas, proyecciones y propuestas de soluciones, lo que facilitaría la obtención de resultados operativos, evitando que las discusiones se limiten a un enfoque meramente teórico. Las operaciones de paz pueden fortalecerse mediante la integración de tecnologías avanzadas en sus mandatos. Herramientas como la inteligencia artificial y la gestión de datos masivos ya están mostrando su valor en áreas como la planificación logística, el análisis de riesgos y la respuesta a emergencias. No obstante, la implementación de estas tecnologías debe realizarse con un enfoque responsable, asegurando la adecuada gestión de los datos y respetando la soberanía de los Estados anfitriones. De igual manera, este Consejo debe prestar especial atención a las implicaciones que los desarrollos en los campos de la neurotecnología, la biología sintética, las tecnologías cuánticas y otras tienen sobre la paz y la seguridad internacionales, pues debemos aprovechar sus beneficios sin ignorar los riesgos asociados a su desarrollo. La computación cuántica, por ejemplo, podría poner en riesgo la ciberseguridad global en un futuro cercano, al amenazar con quebrantar los sistemas de encriptación más avanzados. Lo vimos con el ataque de ciberseguridad a la Corte Penal Internacional. De igual forma, el uso militar de la neurotecnología plantea serias preocupaciones éticas y de derechos humanos, al abrir la posibilidad a un potencial hackeo cerebral y a la manipulación de las capacidades cognitivas y sensoriales de los soldados. Es imperativo que los avances en estas y otras áreas se desarrollen dentro de marcos normativos sólidos que garanticen el respeto al derecho internacional, incluyendo el derecho internacional humanitario y de los derechos humanos. Asimismo, se debe aplicar los principios del desarrollo sostenible, de fortalecimiento de capacidades y transferencia de tecnologías para cerrar la brecha digital sobre los países desarrollados y los países en desarrollo. Señor Presidente, el Pacto para el Futuro, aprobado por nuestros jefes de Estados y de Gobiernos, nos recuerda que el poder transformador de la ciencia, la tecnología y la innovación debe estar al servicio de la humanidad. El Ecuador respalda este llamado y reafirma su compromiso con el multilateralismo como el único camino viable para enfrentar los desafíos globales actuales. Por ello, al finalizar, expreso la esperanza de que se detenga una potencial carrera por el dominio tecnológico y armamentista de las grandes potencias, basada en la inteligencia artificial y la biología sintética, en favor del bienestar de la humanidad, concebido en su amplio sentido y que se resume en los 3 pilares de la Carta de las Naciones Unidas. Aprovechar los avances científicos para promover la paz, los derechos humanos, el desarrollo sostenible y la equidad entre las naciones es una tarea que debemos asumir con responsabilidad, garantizando que estos beneficios alcancen a todos los pueblos, especialmente a los países en desarrollo, con el objetivo de no dejar a nadie atrás. Muchas gracias.
Je remercie le représentant de l'Équateur pour sa déclaration et je passe maintenant la parole au représentant de Sierra Leone.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to express my sincere gratitude to Switzerland for convening this very important meeting. I thank the briefers, Mr. Robin Geiss, Dr. Jocelyn Bloch, Dr. Grégoire Courtine, and Mr. Amin Awad for their valuable contributions to today's discussion. The topic, anticipating the impact of scientific development on peace and security, is both timely and highly relevant. we are encouraged that the Security Council continues to engage on this issue, which is acknowledged in the Pact for the Future and the Secretary General's new agenda for peace. The role of science and technology in shaping international peace and security is undeniable, and it is essential for the Council to keep pace with these developments. Sierra Leone recognizes the transformative power of science and technology in advancing human dignity, human rights, and environmental protection and sustainable development. The potential for scientific development and innovations to positively impact peace and security is considerable. However, the same scientific and technological advancement, if not regulated, or if abused or misused, pose significant risks to global stability. It is for this reason that we emphasize the responsibility of the Security Council to remain informed and proactive in addressing scientific developments. Whether it is the proliferation of artificial intelligence, autonomous weapon systems, biotechnology, or quantum technologies, the Council must ensure that such advancements are used to support, not undermine, international peace and security. In this regard, Sierra Leone joined Switzerland and Slovenia in a media stakeout before the commencement of this meeting to call for joint action on the UN Secretary General's new agenda for peace, which was launched during the presidency of Sierra Leone in August this year. One of our intentions is to work with Council members to integrate scientific knowledge into the Secretary General's new agenda for peace, as affirmed in the Pact for the Future. Leveraging data-driven insights and the latest scientific tools inter alia can enhance our collective ability to anticipate and prevent conflicts. Mr. President, the United Nations has long recognized, dating back to the adoption of Resolution 43/77 in 1988, both the promise and challenges of scientific and technological innovations. This includes the need to establish normative frameworks that ensure safe and responsible applications of these technologies for the benefit of all humanity. On 13 June 2024, the African Union Peace and Security Council, during its discussion on the topic, Looking into the Future, Artificial Intelligence and its Impact on Peace and Security in Africa, underscored the importance of continuous dialogue and enhanced collaboration. It was emphasized that member states, regional economic communities, and regional mechanisms, the private sector, the think tanks, the African Union, the United Nations, and other stakeholders must work together to ensure a harmonized approach in harnessing the potential of artificial intelligence. Furthermore, the session called for the urgent development of a global compact on artificial intelligence, recognizing a need for collective international efforts to establish principles and frameworks that guide the responsible and beneficial use of AI in promoting peace and security across Africa and beyond. Additionally, the African Union Development Agency has published a white paper on the regulation and responsible adoption of AI in Africa. The white paper sets out to demystify AI by providing the reader many already existing examples of AI uses in Africa and gives African governments recommendations on what their next steps should be. Mr. President, this past August, Council members engaged with experts from the Geneva Science and Diplomacy Anticipator on the margins of the commemorative event of the 75th anniversary of the Geneva Convention to explore the implications of rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, synthetic biology, and neurotechnology for global peace and security. This discussion highlighted the urgent need for the Council to develop strategies to manage both the risks and opportunities associated with these innovations. In this regard, Sierra Leone wishes to make 4 key points. First, scientific and technological innovations can be harnessed to meet sustainable development goals and address root causes of conflicts. For example, in the Sahara-Sahel region, high-resolution satellites and machine learning tools are being used to monitor vegetation and inform policies that address food insecurity. Similar innovations are being utilized in humanitarian settings for real-time planning and support during crisis. Climate science advancements, such as adaptive crops, will continue to help mitigate conflict by addressing the challenges of food scarcity and resource competition. Quantum technology, including quantum sensing and computing, offers both opportunities and risks. While it enhances military capabilities and problem solving, it also raises concerns about ethical use and security threats. Similarly, the deployment of AI in robotics, drones, and human augmentation presents both humanitarian opportunities and potential harm, particularly in the area of peacekeeping and conflict management. Second, while scientific advancements offer immense promise, they also widen the technological gaps between developed and developing nations. Barriers to access, funding, and research and development disproportionately affect poorer countries, limiting their ability to benefit from innovations. It is crucial to establish frameworks that promote equitable access to technology and ensure that all nations can participate in and benefit from scientific progress. Third, effectively harnessing scientific innovations for peace and security requires enhanced international cooperation. The Secretary General's report on current developments in science and technology emphasizes the need for multilateral forums to address the potential impact of these advancements on global security. A rules-based system with compliance and accountability mechanisms is essential to regulate technologies such as nuclear power, 3D printing of weapons, and biotechnologies, which pose significant risks if misused by non-state actors. Strengthening collaboration across borders and fostering responsible research will help mitigate these risks. Sierra Leone supports efforts to integrate science and technology into peace-building policies and to ensure that innovations are used for the greater good. Finally, Mr. President, Sierra Leone reaffirms its commitment to working with international partners to leverage global expertise and best practices in scientific research. We look forward to more engagement on these critical issues, particularly in the context of implementing the Pact for the Future and the Secretary General's new agenda for peace. We stand ready to contribute to efforts that promote inclusive and equitable access to scientific knowledge, ensuring that all nations can benefit from and contribute to global peace and security. I thank you.
Je remercie le représentant de Sierra Leone de sa déclaration. Mesdames et Messieurs, il n'y a plus d'orateurs et d'oratrices inscrits sur la liste.